video this morning of, at least I watched it this morning, of Darren and VW motor and the cam bearings, how they were binding. And, you know, he was talking about how, you know, the quality parts just aren't there anymore. I can understand that. Hold that up. I can understand that watching what's happening. I mean, a lot of these famous brand name parts are now all being made in China. And these companies are living on their name, like Hearst did for a long time. And when they started producing garbage and crap, people were buying it. You know, car manufacturers did it, people do it. And then just sooner or later, people just give up on them. But I guess it becomes unfortunate when you can't get the quality parts anymore. But that's not even the purpose of the video. He was showing how the cam was binding in those bearings, and you saw the shiners on them. I know on American car motors, just a standard V8, I remember taking a trip to Merkel's. If anybody knows who Merkel's is, Merkel's, they're drag racing motors. They've been around, I think, from the 50s. I could be wrong. It's definitely the 60s, but I think the 50s. Jack Merkel, who was still around even though the sons run the business. And I remember taking a trip there because someone I deal with from Pampina Motorsports, he used to work there, and he was, you know, connected with them. If you buy any of his kits, any of his stroker kits for the Mitsu 3000 GT motors, they're all coming out of Merkel's. A lot of the machine work is done there. But I remember taking a trip there, and they have a series of camshafts hanging on the wall, and they're just stock, brand new camshafts, bless you. And where the actual bearing surfaces, they have grooves cut in them. And when they put the bearings in a motor and the cam goes in and the cam binds, they basically just take that camshaft, put it in there, and rotate it once or twice with a wrench. And it actually machines off the high spots on the bearings. So that's one of the ways they do it. I mean, obviously another way is to re-bore the holes where the cam is, but a lot of people don't go through that. You know what I mean? They just don't want to do that to the block. So a lot of times they'll put the cam bearings in, put one of those cams in there, they rotate it once or twice, because you're not talking about the point where you beat the cam in with a hammer. You're talking about something that's just a little stiff and you know it's in one spot, like those bearings were, and it just machines them down. Then they pull the cam out, they clean everything up, and they continue on. So I just figured, you know, for anybody doing like an American car motor, that might be how the machine shop already did it to your motor and you don't know it. Until you go to overhaul it, put bearings in it again, the cam doesn't go in. So I was told that's how the factory does it too, with a different jig, and you don't notice any of this stuff until after you're going to rebuild the motor. So I remember doing a 1967 GTO 400 high output motor. A friend bought the car from the original owner. The motor was never apart, ever. And I decided to do the engine compartment for him and freshen the motor. So we pulled the motor, sent it to a shop we dealt with. The guy sent it back. Now, it was supposed to be just the machine work, and I was supposed to do the assembly. But he cut a deal with him, because we used him through the business so much, you know, he cut him an awesome deal. So he figured out, let the guy just do the major assembly and send it back as a long block, which was a mistake, because he wound up taking the high output cam and lifters and selling them on them, and putting the comp cam in there, and a bunch of other things. But needless to say, when we got it back, the timing chain that was on the motor looked like it had 100,000 miles on it already. And it turned out, when I started talking to the Pontiac guys, supposedly that was pretty common with the Pontiacs. And they actually sell timing chains for Pontiac V8s that are a couple of thousand smaller each link. I think it was 2,000s. So you had to determine how much slop you had. And he would sell you one, for argument's sake, if each one was 2,000s and it was 30 links, which is more, it would be 60,000 shorter. And I remember having to do all the calculations, and this guy sent me a timing chain that he used to make the gears himself out of billet. And it was a precise precision fit. And And he said that's the way they came. They were just from the factory. They came like that. So, no, that's it. We're almost home, right, little guy? Woo-hoo! Oh my God! I just had the Corolla at 80. This car can't do 80. It's a Corolla. This car doesn't even have an overdrive.